So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the clothing that women wore in this time frame. We would all start off with our shift, and if you notice here, we have a big household. You're doing laundry for lots of people. How do you know whose is whose? We stitch our initials into it. The next thing that you would put on is a pair of stays, and after your stays you put on your pocket. Your pocket is not an integral part of your clothing. It's a separate piece that ties around your waist. You know that old nursery rhyme about Lucy Locket who lost her pocket? I never could understand it until I started reenacting in this era. So the next thing that goes on is a petticoat. And our petticoats are such that, and put this over her head, that the front ties around the back and the back ties around the front. And it's basically like two aprons that are put together with a gap down each side. Let me tie that on. So here I'm tying the back part to the front. And then I'll do the same thing for the other. Actually, I got it backwards so well. So we'll tie this one this way. And I've just happened to get it backwards because normally this pleat here is in the center back. So I'm going to tie it at the back. Now, we saw the pocket before, right? Remember how I talked about these little openings? Well, look at this. I can reach through this opening right into the pocket. Now, one of the reasons that things are so adjustable for women is because we had large families, which means women were pregnant for a good deal of their lives. So having something that's very adjustable at the waist was very important. This next garment I'm going to put on is called a short gown. And it's just a little tunic style top that, like everything else women wears in this time period, pins closed. Again, very useful if you have to change things for pregnancy. So actually, you know what? I'm going to put the kerchief on first. So kerchiefs can be worn a couple different ways. If you see mine here, it's tucked in the front and out in the back. I just kind of like that way, but it can also be out in the front. So we'll put the kerchief on, and I normally just kind of tuck it in a little bit into the waist to hold it in place. And then, so it keeps the neck area covered up. Modesty, sunburn, you name it. And then you put several pins down the front. And then to top the whole thing off, you close it at the waist essentially by putting on your apron. And your apron strings are long enough that they go all the way around your waist and they tie in the front. So you now have another band here around your waist that you can hang things from, like your scissors sheath, your pin cushion. I think I've got my knife on the back too. So that's a good use. Another thing that you do, say you are walking around and all of a sudden you see a bunch of figs that you need to harvest from the tree and you don't have a basket with you. Well, guess what you can do? You slide the corners of your apron underneath that extra bit of apron strings, and voila, you have a big pocket here that you can put things in. On your head, you would always wear a linen cap. There are several different styles available. You might wear a bergeret. This one is just held down. Another option would be something called a market bonnet. They are more common in the wintertime because they really keep your head very nice and warm. We have different shoe options here. I'm wearing the traditional buckle shoes. This is a little higher up. People of Dutch descent might come with the wooden shoes. In the wintertime when it's cold, we could also wear mitts, which are fingerless gloves, and I've got a couple pair here. This one is knitted. So the whole idea is that you want to have your fingers free to do work, but still keep yourself warm and covered up. Here's a pair that is out of fabric, and it's, so you have this little bit that covers your fingertips, and you can turn that back, and normally there's a little bit of a silk lining there, but the whole idea is that your fingers are free to do your sewing and your stitching, but you keep your upper arms nice and warm. So those are some of the key things about clothing of the backcountry women.